Hi, I'm Scott Edward Anderson. I'm reading from Dwelling, an eco poem. This is a poem called Savoring. Watch the birds grow full with bursting spring. Rapacious bees come from nowhere, covering themselves in pollen, until they are loaded with murky pastel. Humid, torpid, full with desire only to be laden, to be laid in humid dust. Take the pollen on your fingers, rub 2 fingers together, make an oil pastel of pollen, and rub it over your eyelids. Now go to your lover, your bee's knees, and close your eyes. Sun-drenched, the garden grows fecund in the naming earth. In a few days, the peonies will be 2 feet tall and laden with black ants, sucking the swelling bud. Sap runs and the garden grows green, then pink, blue, white, yellow, purple. Ochre pollen covers the porch deck and rail. Pollen does not discriminate, except flower to flower, sinus to sinus, as the trees give out their leafy life. This is called Longing, and there's an epigraph from Frank Bedart. Love is the distance between you and what you love. What you love is your fate. Longing. Desire is a city street, flush with longing. Losing is the darkness inhabiting the street. Say that losing becomes a way of knowing, words failing to capture its music. Desire is to longing as longing is to losing. If this is so, losing strengthens longing, as longing makes mystery of desire. Concave mirrors cascading light in common focus, each reflecting and magnifying the other, unformed, uninformed, but nevertheless. Life's little endings, the big, unresolved, unrequited unfolding of the world into what longing desires. This is called Mapping, and there's an epigraph from Elizabeth Bishop. More delicate than the historians are the map maker's colors. Mapping. A boundary is where something begins, spaces formed by locations. Mapping is building spaces and locations as it is made. Nature's boundaries defined by interconnections and geophysical fact, not geopolitical friction. Aspect, climate, elevation, landforms and bodies of water, aggregation of species, watershed divides, soil, time, bedrock, strata, and shifting. Of this we are certain. Boundaries are always shifting. Only man tries to deny this, imposing order where chaos rules. Say that boundaries are the beginning, where things start, not the end point. Say boundaries are a beginning, one among many. Mapping delineates spaces and locations through form. Each boundary, while defining the end of shaped space, is also a beginning. This is called Running. There's an epigraph from Philip Johnson, from the New York Times article on Frank Gehry from 1982. Not beauty or ugliness either, but a disturbing kind of satisfaction. Running. Think of a watershed as a river's neighborhood, the running stream a kind of architecture. Find the stream that forms the watershed in which you live. Hear the water running. If it is frozen, listen through the ice. The architect finds such harmony in the precise moment a corner is designed, tension, productivity, and grace. Hear it? Running water, then silence, then water running. The architect Frank Gehry achieves a double sense of space. Like a watershed, his buildings are formed by what flows in and out. Follow the stream, run the watershed, chase the flash and glamour of fish scales underwater, spawning entire new dynamics of space. The way a storm moving through a valley redirects energy back into a stream. Gehry asked himself, why not do fish? A lasting design, form linked to function. So he did fish scale chairs, fish lamps, and then buildings that seemed to swim around their own corners, seemed to spawn. Scale the banks, river walls, river run, erosion and construction. Titanium trapezoids billowing at the end of Bilbao's streets, more like spun sugar than shaped metal. Run the river towards something. There's tension in productivity and grace. Perhaps this double sense of space is sense of place. No matter where we are always in a watershed. And finally, this is a poem called Wanting. And there's another epigraph on this poem. This is from Italo Calvino, from Baron in the Trees. If you put up a wall, think what's left outside. Wanting. We need a culture of different wants. By creating a second nature, do we separate ourselves from nature? Nature describes an idea derived from sensory experience. When you read nature, what do you see? The written text, a portable homeland. A poem is a tree as much as its paper. Make a poetry of landscape. Make it all about desire.